Is South Park too scared to roast Islam? I finally want to give my 2 cents on all this and all the other religions South Park has put in the oven at 500 degrees. So let's rank the damage, starting with the religion that's everyone's punching bag these days, Judaism. Fun fact, Matt Stone is ethically Jewish. That's why he voices Kyle. Matt literally made himself a short, loud, victimized Jewish kid with a green pom-pom hat, and then made the biggest anti-Semite in fiction as his next-door neighbor. Cartman's been calling Kyle a stupid Jew since 1997. If Sigmund Freud watched one season of this show, he'd cancel all his other patients and dedicate the rest of his career exclusively to Matt. There's even an episode, Casa Bonita, where Cartman, a boy with functioning memory, asks, "When have I ever made fun of you for being a Jew?" "Sir, when have you not?" The show's answers cut to a long montage.
Kyle, when have I ever ripped on you for being a Jew? Oh yeah? Well, you're a stupid Jew. You're a Jew. Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! Good job, Jew.
And Cartman doesn't stop at insults. In Le Petit Tourette, Season 11, Episode 8, he realizes that if people think you have Tourette's, you can say whatever you want. So, what does he do? He fakes tics and says anti-Semitic things. Why? Because he can get away with it.
Don't push me, asshole!
Kyle, watch your language!
And as if that wasn't enough, he tells Kyle's cousin in The Entity that if he has concentration issues, he should try a concentration camp.
Concentration is the key to succeeding in my class.
Maybe we'll have to send him to concentration camp.
Damn! Cartman even dresses like Hitler and leads a crowd through German chants by claiming they're Aramaic. Es ist Zeit für Rache. Wir müssen die Juden ausrotten. Which means, it's time for revenge, and we must exterminate the Jews. Who is this kid? And the adults followed without asking questions. But South Park doesn't just skim over anti-Semitism. In Cancelled, it goes all the way in with no helmet. In it, Earth isn't actually a planet, but a reality show. It has been for billions of years. Different species, Asians, Hispanics, bears, deers, ducks, were all imported from separate planets and dropped onto the same rock, specifically to fight each other on camera. But get this, the Alien Network executives, the one who controls all media in the universe, are called Jewsians. And just in case you missed it, South Park made sure these executives are green, 8-limbed, have enormous noses, and speak in thick Yiddish accents. Then, to add even more spice, an announcement heard on their planet states, they control all media in the universe. Okay, we get it. Chill out. But they don't chill out. One scene makes it even more brilliant. One of the Jewsians suspect Kyle has some Jewsian ancestry because he's the only one of the boys who enjoys their alien food. The boys beg them not to cancel Earth, which will mean destroying the planet. But the Jewsians say the show's declining. It's just business. So they take the boys to a strip club, get absolutely wasted on alien coke, then retire to a hotel room to do things that Kenny photographs. That photograph is what saves Earth. Blackmail. Remind you of someone? The name rhymes with Trumpstein? And then we have Cupid Yeah, Season 26, Episode 1, which details the whole Kanye versus the Jews saga and had kids in South Park pitching their ideas to Kyle because he controls Hollywood. But the funniest part happens when Cupid Yeah suddenly says that Hitler actually wasn't a bad guy, just like Kanye said. Cartman, the boy who once dressed as Hitler, who once led a crowd in Nazi chants, who had been calling Kyle a stupid Jew since 1997, this Cartman says hell no, that's too far. The joke is that Yeah is so unhinged that he shocked even the show's biggest anti-Semite. Cartman's been running this bit for 26 seasons, and even he steps back. You'll think the bit ends with that wholesome speech until the credits roll. Instead of the usual created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they read, created by Matt Stone, written and directed by Matt Stone, assistant to Mr. Stone, Trey Parker. Did I mention that Matt Stone's Jewish? Maybe that's why Christianity gets so much heat in South Park. First, Matt and Trey made Jesus Christ a recurring character, then they made him lame. He runs a local cable show called Jesus and Pals that gets only 4 viewers. We're all going to hell for watching alone. Meanwhile, while they make Jesus lame, they make Satan cool. He's one of the most emotionally developed characters in the entire show. He's even in therapy and throws amazing parties. But South Park turns up the heat in some episodes like Christian Rock Hard, Season 7, Episode 9. After getting kicked out of the boys' band, Cartman makes a bet with Kyle that he'll be the first to make an album go platinum. His strategy is my favorite part. He chooses Christian music because when you take any love song, replace the word baby with Jesus, kaboom, you have a Christian song. The dig here's obvious. Cartman produces songs with lyrics like,
And I just want to feel you deep inside me, Jesus.
"Sir, why are we feeling Jesus deep inside us?"
I want him to nibble on my ear and say I'm here for you.
The Christians love it. They raise their hands like it's the most spiritually moving thing they've ever heard. Not a single person in that audience says, "Hold on, this is a very romantic description of a beach date with Christ." According to South Park, Christians are gullible and will listen to anything that calls itself gospel music. Cartman's band becomes big, everything's working according to his plan, until he learns that Christian music doesn't go platinum. It goes gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Oops. Since there's no platinum, Kyle wins. Cartman's so angry he screams, "God damn it!" And worst of all, "Fuck Jesus!" But ignore all that. Christian rock sounds exactly like love songs. That observation changed my life. Put it on a plaque. But South Park attacks Christianity again with Bloody Mary, Season 9, Episode 14. It starts with Randy getting a DUI and attending Alcoholics Anonymous. Randy loves the idea that alcoholism is a disease he can't control and becomes the most helpless victim you've ever seen. You need to watch this episode yourself, especially to see the statue of the Virgin Mary that starts bleeding from her rear end. Catholics definitely hated this one. Matt and Trey took the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus, and made her squirt blood out of her butt. I would throw hands if it was my regular mom, but the mother of my God? That sounds like enough to cause a holy war. But fortunately, Jesus taught about turning the other cheek. Nevertheless, Catholics were not amused. They protested the show and demanded the removal of this sacrilege. But in South Park, people revere the bloody statue as holy and flock to it. Randy, of course, cuts the entire line, gets drenched with the blood, and is immediately healed. But then Pope Benedict XVI shows up and says that chicks bleed all the time, so it's not a miracle. Randy starts drinking again. So, not only does this episode violate the Virgin Mary, it also takes a dump on miracles. Unsurprisingly, people were mad as hell. The Catholic League demanded a formal apology from Comedy Central. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops' president even sent a letter directly to Viacom's CEO, accusing the network of extreme insensitivity. Comedy Central said, "Oops," and pulled the episode from reruns during Christmas. In New Zealand, 400 Catholics gathered outside the TV Works headquarters to pray the rosary and sing Marian hymns during the broadcast. Even the Prime Minister called the episode revolting, but still defended the right to air it. That's funny. She said, "I hate this, but go ahead." But what surprised me is that Trey Parker said he regretted Bloody Mary more than Trapped in the Closet. That's crazy. The backlash wasn't even as bad as the one they got when they parodied Islam. Alright, we're finally back to this conversation. One of the first times South Park did a bit on Islam was in 2001 in an episode called Super Best Friends. In this episode, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Moses, the Prophet Muhammad, and Joseph Smith were like the Avengers. Moses could control water, Muhammad had fire powers, which might be a reference to the Quran teaching against punishing people with fire or terrorism, yet there was no backlash or censorship when this aired. But that was pre-9/11 America, before the world changed. Fast forward to 2006, everyone is now walking on eggshells. Matt and Trey decided to crush them instead. They did that with Cartoon Wars. In this episode, Family Guy is planning to show an image of Muhammad, and the mere idea sends the entire world into chaos. Their argument in this episode is simple. If this show can mock Jesus Christ relentlessly, why is Muhammad untouchable? The show is building toward that point when, bam, Comedy Central censors the image entirely and replaces it with a disclaimer. How ironic! But by far the scariest reaction came with the 2010 episodes. For the 200th episode, they bring back every celebrity they've ever mocked and have them sue the town demanding one thing: Muhammad. Why? Oh, the why is funny. In this universe, Muhammad has a unique power. The power to not be made fun of, and the celebrities want that for themselves. I love it. But many didn't find the episode funny at all. In fact, a group called Revolutionary Muslim posted a warning referencing Theo Van Gogh, who was murdered in 2004, essentially warning that it could happen again. They even posted the addresses of Comedy Central's New York offices and Matt and Trey's production company in Los Angeles. Whoa! Now, these are not empty threats. When Charlie Hebdo published a cartoon of Muhammad, gunmen attacked the magazine's offices and killed 12 people. You don't mess with Muhammad. There's a strict Islamic prohibition that Muhammad shouldn't be drawn or parodied, and radical Muslims still enforce it. The NYPD had to increase security at Comedy Central offices before 201 aired. Of course, it still aired. Matt and Trey are that bold, but Comedy Central, not so much. They censored everything. Every mention of Muhammad was bleeped, and even the final speech was completely censored. That's the part Kyle said they couldn't show Muhammad because
It was because of the magical power of threatening people with violence. If there's anything we've all learned, it's that terrorizing people works.
terror worked so well that even though the author of the Revolutionary Muslim post was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison, both episodes were permanently removed from Comedy Central's streaming library. They were pulled from all platforms as well, so don't mess with Muhammad. Now, I want to show you a picture of Muhammad because I'm a fearless lion, but unfortunately, my courage has disappeared. Maybe next time. So let's pull a South Park and give a pass to another religion. Because Islam isn't the only religion that got off easy, South Park also slowed down for the Christians that other Christians unanimously reject. Mormons. In All About Mormons, Season 11, Episode 12, a Mormon family, the Harrisons, move into town with a son, Gary, who acts like he was generated in a lab. Gary's a state sports champion. He gets perfect grades, he is everything. The other boys can't stand it, so they decide Stan needs to fight him. Stan pulls up to Gary's house, ready for violence, but he finds himself agreeing to stay for dinner. Suddenly, the episode splits into two timelines. On one side, you have this wholesome, perfect Mormon family, and on the other hand, you have the origin story of Mormonism. This is the only point the show sharpens the knife. Every time Joseph Smith makes a claim that's too incredulous, a cheerful chorus sings dum 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 dum. Like when an angel told him that long ago all Native Americans were white and that they came to America from Jerusalem. He even said Jesus was born in America rather than Bethlehem. When someone says something to counter him, the chorus calls them smart, smart, smart.
Martin, how do you know he isn't just making stuff up and pretending he's translating off golden plates?
Lucy Harris, smart, 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 smart.
On one hand, the show's poking holes in the foundation of the religion. I mean, what do you mean Adam and Eve linked in Jackson County, Missouri? And that Joseph Smith read out the words in the Book of Mormon from a hat. But on the other hand, you've got this family that is very kind, loving, and doing life very well. I mean, if the result of something foolish is something good, does that make the thing good? Look at me, I'm getting philosophical too. Real-life Mormons watched this episode and loved it, after all that dumb-to-dumb business. That was smart though, they even ran an ad on the Broadway show. Yup, Matt and Trey took those same themes and turned them into a Broadway show in 2011 that won 9 Tony Awards. Everything was so sugary that South Park decided to balance it up by smashing Scientology in the face. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this might be the funniest episode South Park's ever made. Now, I know I say that a lot, but Trapped in the Closet has a 9.1 on IMDb, so I'm not the only one who thinks that way. In Trapped in the Closet, Season 9, Episode 12, Stan takes a free personality test from Scientologists. When the results come back, they're historically high. Like, this has only ever happened once before in recorded history high. And that one person is L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. You'll expect the conclusion to be, oh, interesting coincidence, but no, it's Stan is the reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard. They skipped a lot of steps there. Suddenly, important people start showing up, Stan is taken into the inner circle, and here, South Park does something insane. They expose their hidden beliefs exactly as they are, on screen, with a massive title card that says, "This is what Scientologists actually believe." Stan is told the Xenu story from the Operating Thetan Level 3 document. It goes like this. An intergalactic warlord named Xenu froze billions of alien souls 75 million years ago, loaded them onto a DC-8 spacecraft, flew them to Earth's volcanoes, and detonated hydrogen bombs around them. These souls, Thetians, are attached to human beings and are the source of all their problems. This sounds like a Marvel movie. South Park is saying everything about this religion is fake and fictional. But the episode isn't done. While all this is happening, Tom Cruise shows up. Tom Cruise, one of the bravest actors, is devastated when Stan says he's just an okay actor. He's so devastated that he walks into Stan's closet, locks the door, and refuses to come out. The entire town gathers outside begging him. A cop announces,
"Please come out of the closet. Nobody's gonna be mad. Everything's gonna be all right."
The double meaning here is hilarious. The show couldn't legally call Tom Cruise gay, so they did this. Stan eventually tells the Scientology president that people shouldn't have to pay to see a prophet. The president wouldn't hear it. I almost cursed the president out. Totally forgot he's a parody. At the end credits, all the names are replaced with either John Smith or Jane Smith. The episode wasn't rebroadcasted because Tom Cruise made them pull it. To make it more interesting, Isaac Hayes, a Scientologist, left the show, but his son later said that someone in his Scientology crowd quit on Hayes' behalf while he was incapacitated due to a stroke. At this point, you might think that Matt and Trey have a vendetta against religion, but they don't. Their actual problem is dogma, and they proved their point with atheism. In Go God Go and Go God Go 7, Richard Dawkins pulls up to South Park Elementary to teach evolution. Mr. Garrison, who at this point has reinvented herself so many times that identity is basically a rotating door, is not impressed. She even throws things at him. Richard Dawkins is so mad that he's not mad at all. He's charmed. He even asks her on a date. Maybe it's a fetish. Anyway, after one evening together, Garrison converts to atheism too. She begins to bully students who express any form of faith. She even puts dunce caps on them. Her new motto is, "Logic and reason aren't enough. You also have to be a dick to everyone who doesn't think like you." Together, Garrison and Dawkins convert the entire world to atheism. But in 500 years, when Cartman wakes up, religion is gone. How amazing! Humans must have finally achieved utopia. Everyone's probably walking around in clean outfits, solving equations, minding their business. Oh, you wish. They're at war. Over what? Resources? Territory? Nope. They're fighting over what to name their group. Take away religion, and human beings will still find something to fight over like it's life or death. Richard Dawkins saw the episode and was not particularly happy to be portrayed as a cartoon character engaging in activities with Mr. Garrison. Well, fair, but he later admitted in a 2012 Playboy interview that the atheists fighting over their name has a certain amount of truth in it. At last, some self-awareness. So, who got roasted the hardest? Scientology, of course. South Park exposed the church's secrets for free, had staff leave, made Tom Cruise throw a tantrum, and still managed to earn an Emmy nomination while having every single person in the credits hide behind fake names because Scientologists would have made it very hard for them to work in Hollywood otherwise.